Hello everyone, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. So welcome to the ninth episode of this series, which is Model 9 Identifying Patterns and Trends. So this is if you're taking a decision making step, if you're in the process of taking a decisions. So this will be helpful for you in order to go dig deeper into your data inside your report. So today we are going to learn about advanced analytics in Power BI and data insights through AI visuals. So advanced analytics enables organizations to make better decisions, and create action and meaningful insights. The emerging power of advanced analytics and bring value to an organizations through Power BI's advanced analytics capabilities. So we are going to talk about this one by one. So the regular visuals which we usually work in Power BI, like which we have here, if I share on my screen here, this one. Yeah, this actually gives us information about this has happened to this one, this has happened to this one. Like we discussed in the initial stage, even for data analytics side, we have different stages of data analytics. One is a kind of descriptor analytics and then prescriptor analytics kind of thing. So this is actually what has happened. That's what we are showing up here, the first stage of data analytics. And if you want to drill down further down, what is the reason for the hike here and what is the reason for the less in the sales here? You want to dig deeper into that, then that's the kind of why approach, why it has gone up and why it has gone down in that case. So it brings to the next stage of data analytics here. And with the help of AI tools, we can also use much more deeper insight to that. And like the drill down functionality and drill through functionality, what we have it in Power BI, it also actually comes into that one. So we have the information available on the report, and if you want to dig deeper insight to that, what is the reason for that? The finding the root cause is actually the second step of data analytics here. And here, if you look into this image, for example, this is actually showing up the number of orders and number of shipped orders here. So only for one particular category is actually showing a different area, because for that particular category, it has a high number of orders and high number of sales here. That's what they are shipped here. And if you want to find out what is the reason behind that, then you need to have a data in your place, first of all. And inside to that, if you click on that, then you can find the reason about that. Maybe it's some special day on that, or it can be a kind of any sales which are given, the promotion which are given for that particular category for that day. So that's the reason it may be high in sales for that. So these kind of analytics can be done using few visuals in Power BI. One of them is the scattered plotter chart, which we'll talk in this demo as well. And also there are certain AI visuals which we have built in Power BI, and some of them are also available in the custom visuals in Power BI. If I go to my report now, and so what we're talking about, this is identifying outliers basically. So with the help of scattered plotter chart, we can identify what is the kind of information available here, or what is the kind of outlier. The sense means unusual activity which we have in our data. That's what we can identify using these charts here. If I come back here, this is one of the visuals which I added here. As you can see, this is a scatter plotter chart here, scatter chart, and I have added here x-axis to be sales territory country, and y-axis is the total sales, and the legend is here the total occupation, which is clerical management, with the data here, and size here I used here kind of order count. So how many orders has happened and total sales based on the occupation and sales territory here. That's what we are going to show up here. And if you look into this image, what we realize is that the top one which is showing up here on the US, the profession is professional, and it's United States, which we have a total sales of this much and order count is this much. And if I come to the other area, which we have it here, for example, the Germany, and in Germany, the topmost is actually the clerical, not the professional. So we can identify that, and also with the help of ball size, we can inform on that one. This is one of the case. And another case which we have it here is this one. The other chart which I added here is total sales and total number of order count here. So this actually gives us what information? So this actually gives information about the product wise total order count, and then total order sales for that, and also the number of orders which you have received for that particular product. If I zoom in here, which is the focus mode, I have this information here, and this is not easily readable here. But if I just mouse over on the right side one, which is here, and it gives the information about water bottle 30 OZ, that's a product, and we have received the order count of 4,000 plus orders with a total sales of 21,000. That's what is showing up here. Whereas on the top, if you see here, which we have it on the road 150 bike kind of thing, this actually we received 336 orders, but we have huge number. Yeah, obviously the bikes is we have a huge cost, and this one, which is the product, which the water bottle is less in cost, so that's the reason it is in the bottom one, and it's in this one. So another functionality which we have it here is kind of clustering in this scatter chart. So if I click on this three dot icon, which we have it here, and then we have automatically find cluster. There's an option here. So if we click on that, Power BI is smart enough actually in order to identify the cluster of the values here. So I'm just adding up the information here, name to be product name and field to be product name, and not adding up any other things here. The number of clusters I'd like to be set is to be auto itself, and click on OK. Once you do so, you will see some changes onto the visuals here. So it is still loading. Everything looks like gray itself. Now you will see different colors here. All right. So it has now added a legend, which is saying a product name cluster, and it has given a name of cluster 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has not given any name for that, but the range of values which we have it on our data, it's actually clustered those values here. So the range starts from this one, that order count, and until this value is a kind of one cluster. So this is a kind of cluster of values. This item which falls under this cluster contains this value here. By adding just the information here, kind of add clusters for that, it actually added a new column inside to your data model here, which is a product name bracket cluster, and added that value as a legend inside to that. So that's the beauty here. If I go back to my data model here to look for that column, and this particular column actually has created here product name cluster. And if I click on this one, I can able to see the information of cluster 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, these are the clustered values here. But if I select any one of the cluster here and look for the information, so these are all the product comes under the cluster 1 based on the sales value which we have. And if I select the blank ones, why it is not come up over there, it may be the reason because there is no sales for that particular period on these items. So that's why it is not come up here. But if I select the cluster 5, so this has also given up this value cluster 5 on that. And if I click on the cluster 5, which is showing up here at the bottom, and this is the value here. If I click here, cluster 5. Yeah, it is highlighting on this particular value here. If I click here, we can see these are the items which comes under cluster 5. All right, so coming back here to this one, we have further more actually information on this particular topic. So using the analyze feature, so every visuals comes with this one. If you are using Power BI desktop, or even if you are using Power BI service, we actually has the functionality about analyze this feature for every visuals which we have. If I go to this report, which I already developed here, back to report, which we are developing since the beginning of this bootcamp. All right, while this is loading, not sure why this is slow in response. Anyway, so I have this report available with me here. And now if I have this one United Sales are the highest sales for that particular sales here, total sales. If I right click on this one, I am able to see this one analyze option here. So if I click on this one, find where this distribution is different. So if I click on this option, then this will automatically analyze this one. This is help of AI features in Power BI, and this generates the information about that. Here are the filters that causes the distribution of sales amount by sales territory to change the most. It has picked up the topic automatically, and this is going to generate a result for us. Yeah. So what it is saying up here is like USD with 55.7% of record, Canadian dollar is with 12% of record and Australian dollar 21% of records, among others, the most affected distribution. So this is showing up here kind of USA. Sometimes it may be useful information, sometimes it may not, because this is an AI, it's keep on learning things. And here this is showing up in a different language. Actually, administrative with 15% of record, outbreak. No, I'm not interested on this one. You can scroll down, there are multiple options it will give up for you. And here it is saying up here, clerical with 15.9% of record, manual with 11.5% of record, and skill manual with 23.6 record, among the others most affected the distribution. So that's what it is showing up here. The sales amount for clerical and the sales amount which is showing up here on this graph, that is the reason which is causing up the sales to high on the United States. That's what it is showing up here. But if you're interested, then we can add that. But if you're not interested, then we can just leave around and look for the other information which it provides. It doesn't give much useful information for me. So let's go back to the chart here, this one. So we can see we have a higher sales in July for the year 2030. So if I right click on this particular part and look for analyze and explain the increase, it has automatically understand the context here. So there is an increase in the value and it's going to explain the increase value. So here is the analysis of the 27.91% of increase in sales amount between May and June. It has automatically picked up those information from which month to which month I'm going to compare that. So what it is saying up here is like graduate degree accounted for the majority of the increase amount among English education. The related distribution made the graduate degree, bachelor degree, high school change the most. That's what it is showing up here. So it means the graduate persons are purchased more during that period between May to June. So that's the reason of causing higher in sales for the June. That's why it's showing up here. And it is also given multiple options, the charts here. If you are okay with this layout, then you can just add also this into your Power BI report, add to the page. Then if I want to change the visual layout, you can just click on the other visual layout. It will try to optimize that as well. So this is on the scatter plotter chart, and you can see the graduate is actually on the green side on the top side, which means it has a higher impact compared to other categories here. And if you want to move to 100% stack column chart, and it's also going to give you the same result. And here we see the bottom one, which is the bachelor, which contains a higher proportion of that. In the ribbon also, we can clearly say that it is actually showing up in the higher one, whereas here the high school is increased in May, but reduced in June here. If you are okay with this one, like the waterfall one, I like this waterfall one. So we can click on this option. It is going to add that visual inside to the page. You can see in the back, behind the scene is added here. But if you look further down, what are the other information it provides? It is actually giving something in Spanish because we have a data in Spanish here. And other is the French here, and zero accounted for majority increase among the number of cars owned. Okay, so here also saying interesting fact. So those who have zero cars, those who don't have any cars, then they're actually purchasing more during that period. That's interesting topic. So these are kind of interesting insight it is giving up based on our data here. And it is saying that week one, I mean the day one, yeah, day number of the week. So it means maybe Sunday or this Monday. If it is Monday, then it's Sunday here, or maybe the reasons for higher increase in sales. And here you can see the 5. If it is a Thursday, then we have a rate less in sales in the Thursday for that. So based on this scenario, we can, if you want to, the company wants to decide that they can add any kind of sales, 50% discount kind of sales. They can also produce during that, they can promote during these periods so that they can have a much higher in sales as well. All right, that looks good information. And here it's other part. Yeah, it clearly shows here. Sunday, Saturday, yeah, this actually looks interesting. So Sunday, Saturday, and Monday accounted for the majority of the increase among the sales, offsetting the Thursday. The relative contribution made by Thursday, Sunday changed the most. Yeah, that's why it is in red color. This is also interesting. So I will add this into the graph. And if I scroll down further, this is another language. Okay, this is, yeah, the day of the month. This also says the day of the month, which day of the month has a higher incidence. All right, if you're okay with this one, then that's fine. So we can just click on the other area. So we have these 2 graphs added here. But now similarly, I will just quickly show you the reason for the decrease here. So if I right click here on this particular part and then analyze, it detects that explain the decrease. So this is going to analyze the explain and decrease, which is 16.52% compared to June and July. It is saying that these are the dates which has less in sales. That's okay. And this is basically also the number of cars owned. Yeah, those who have higher 0 and 2 accounted for majority of decrease in the cars owned. All right. So here technician accounted for majority decrease among the French occupation. Okay. And this is other language. Skill manual reasons for the decrease in the sales. Okay. So those people have not bought much in that. That's the reason. And here is an interesting one. So this is 0 to 1 miles and 1 to 2 miles accounted for majority of decrease among the commute distance. So those who are coming from the shorter distance, they are actually buying less compared to those who are coming from the far distance. This is also interesting one. So you can see those who are coming from 10 plus miles and they actually bought during that period, but not on particular thing. So let me add this one on the graph and then we'll move to the next one. All right, we have added this. Let me zoom out here. So as we added these graphs into this page, and if I open up the format pane, the visualization pane, so it has automatically added this month, calendar year, commute distance, and the sales amount. So that's the reason for that. And this is actually filtering from June to July. So if I open up this filter pane, yeah, amazing. So it has automatically added also this one. It has filtered the calendar year 13 and customer age also it has filtered here. And when the gender also filtered and month also filtered here. If I remove everything and then we'll see what is the reason for that. Then it's showing up here. Even overall picture, if you look into this one, this is not a change for now. This is still showing the same result. Okay, if I go up a little bit here, this graph is not changing up here. That's strange. If I switch the pages now, let's see. Okay, so the June to July is actually fixed here, but technically it should not fix on this one because we have removed that option. Yeah, somehow this is behind the scene, it is fixed here because we coded that information from that location. But still, if we got this kind of insights, and even if we want to build this kind of waterfall by ourselves, it is possible. Similarly, the reason is because if I add a new business onto the page, let's copy this one. Okay, let's cancel this. Open a new page and build here, paste here. All right. So this is now showing fixed here, June to July. And let's add a new visual onto the page, which has to be the waterfall. Waterfall is this one. All right. We need to have the short month name and calendar year. Actually, it has to be reversed, but still, let's add the commute distance. Commute distance on the breakdown part. Okay. And from dim date, they're adding up calendar year and short month name. Calendar year and short month name. And finally, the total sales. From the measure table, regular measure, sales amount or sales amount here. That's it. Okay, now let's compare these two graphs, what it is showing up here. Cool. So this is giving me the information about this. So let's zoom in here. So for 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, it's every year it is showing up here. And that's 10. So if I remove this particular month in that case, right? So if I, first of all, let's remove the month. Let's keep this year itself. So for this particular year, every year it's actually showing up from 2013. It's showing up in degrees itself because it has to be in a reverse. Yeah, now it is showing up in green. This is how the waterfall will work on. And you can see this one, those who are working in the top 10 plus is actually not the case. For that particular case, it is actually showing higher in value. And you can see the green, which is showing up here, the large size, this is also the large size, it's actually 0 to 1 miles, which are coming up here. For that particular degrees in case, and during that time, people are not bought from the nearest area. They actually, those who are bought during that period actually come from the larger area. So this is actually an interesting topic so that we can analyze the deeper insight to that, so that we can actually look inside to the data, what actually has happened during that period. So that's an interesting one. So this is how we can able to analyze, and then we can add a report on site to this one. All right, moving on. So other thing which we have here is advanced analytics custom visuals. So add a layer of data insight to your report for further analysis. So in Power BI, we have multiple third-party vendors visuals. If you click on this one, but first of all, you need to have a Power BI login inside to your Power BI desktop, and then click on this three-dot icon in the visualization pane, and click on Get More Visuals. If you click on that, then this is going to open a pop-up window, and from there you can able to select the information. Yeah, usually this opens up a pop-up window. Somehow it is happening something. Anyway, so in that pop-up window, you will see like this on this slide. We have multiple categories, and from there we can select the visuals. And whatever the visuals which has the kind of blue tick here is actually certified by Microsoft. This is, some of them are developed by Microsoft, some of them developed by third party, but you need to make sure that you are using a certified visual itself. You can use other visuals also, but it doesn't have any kind of certification from Microsoft on that. So if you lost any data on that, then Microsoft is not responsible for that. So coming back here, so some of them are paid visuals, some of them are freemium, some features is free, some features are paid one, some of them completely paid itself. So it depends on the use case where you need to use that. So every visuals comes with a sample file as well, so you can check and download and play around with that, so that you can use it whenever how you want to in your report. All right, so the next here is grouping and binning information. So grouping is actually group the categories of the data, and binning is actually group continuous fields file. So what does this two means is like, yeah, but before that, so this is how the UI look like, the number of visuals what we have. From here, we can pick any of the visuals. For example, if I pick the Sankey chart here, yeah, this we have a download sample. We can download and check how this works with the sample data. And if you want to add into your level, then you can click on add and using the Power BI report on that. Okay, let me close this one, and we'll look for the binning option. All right, so if I open up the other file, this one. All right, so in this report, actually, I have added two visuals on the page. Sales by customer age and sales by commute distance. So how I did is basically, if I go to this customer table, you can see this one, we have added customer age in groups here and customer age in bins here. So these are the two different things, but this is customer age in groups here. And you can see this is actually given a kind of box symbol here, the icon. It refers to the grouping option of that particular thing. So how this can be done is basically, first of all, you need to click on the column, the three-dot icon, and then every column will have this option, new group option. So when you click on that, this is going to open up a window. From there, you can select the options. So I can also click here and then use edit groups option for the existing one. This is going to open up the window where it is going to give the information about that. For now, this is, yeah, this is loading up here, customer age, that's default, you can give the name. And we can select the column here from where we are using the column and click on add group. It's going to take out the column name automatically. And here we have two options. One is bin, another is list here. For now, I just used here the list itself. And this is actually the data which is showing up here on the particular column. So let me just cancel this one. I will also show you the data first. If I click on the customer age, because from there only I have taken up the group here. The customer age is actually in this range itself. I have written a calculated column for that. Is basically I'm taking the age of the customer with the help of a DAX function date if dim customer birth date minus today's date and converting that value into year. So that variable, if falls under greater than 100, then it has to be 100 to 110. If this is greater than 90, then it has to be 91 to 100. I have just given a custom logic here. So that's the reason it has created a new column for us. So that column actually gives information about the customer is on this range. So this is the data here. If I click on this arrow, then I can able to see the range of the information here. So when you click on the column and then add group, this is actually going to give us information like this on the pop-up window. So here what I have defined, this has to be, let's wait for a while, this has to load. Yeah. So here the group type I selected here to be list, and this is going to show us the list of available values on this one under ungrouped values here. So if you want to group something, then we can drag and drop and use this option here. So for now, what I have done here, 50 to 60 and 61 to 70, I just kept it in a separate group, for example. So if you want to group something else like 70 to 90 in a separate group, then you can just select these two values here, control select, and then click on group at the bottom of your screen. Then this is going to add the groups inside to this one, and it has given the name here. You can also double click here and then you can change something. It's to be 70 to 90, for example, and this can be 51 to 70 as a kind of group. So whatever it falls other than this one, it contains all ungrouped values, which means these are the values which is going to show up on the report as others here. So this is the option which is selected here, include other group, then only is going to show up here. If I untick this one, then there is no others. Only these two are going to show that in the graph on that. So there are another way also we can use that. I will show you that as well. So and then just need to click on OK. And if you going to use that in a table, then it will be amazing for you that you can so that you can create categories here. All right, this is grouping here. So let's work on the other things here. So this is one of the grouping here. And you can also see this one. I have just opened another file here. The product name is also contains the same structure, right? The grouping option. Exactly. This actually done the same job, which you are seeing just of the cluster part. So if I click on this three dot icon and then click on edit cluster here. So previously it was like edit groups, now it is showing up edit cluster, but actually is both of them are similar here. So this has given up here product name, which is a cluster, and this is the description, and it has taken as cluster 10 items, these items kind of thing, and number of clusters how you want. So it has automatically taken this need to be 5 clusters. That's the reason it has given a cluster here. Whatever it comes apart from that, it's to be on the blank section here. So this is a kind of option we don't have as a user interface. It can be done within the visual itself. But the binning things is we can do on the UI for the particular column, and also we can do it within the visual also. So for example, if I go to this visual, yeah, I think it is loaded here. So if I switch it here again, so we have this Australia and France showing up here, right? If I remove this filter for now and delete this particular thing, and also this clear the selection of the sales territory and year from the filter. So right now it is showing up every sales territory region here, Australia, Canada, Central, France, Germany kind of. So if you want to group something into one single place, like you want to group the UK and Germany and France into kind of Europe, for example. So you can just click on France and also on Germany and then right click here. Then you will get the option about, it has to show the option about group here. But it is not showing up the value of the group. The reason is because we are using the value on the x-axis, right? I mean the text on the x-axis and value on the y-axis. Actually, there is a reason for that. So what is the reason it is not showing up here? Anyway, I think it's for the number. If you have the number values, it is not showing up on the grouping side. But still, if you want to group this one, we can also do it from the fields pane here. So, for example, if I go to this field here, Canada and United States, right? So, if I check what is the field here, which I used here, this has to be okay. I used here. Bit confused. So let's go to the sales territory, for example. And we are into the sales territory here. And if I click on the country, so we have this one, United States, Canada, France, UK, Germany here. But sales territory region, actually, I also need the Canada and US. Canada, I have it here, and United States, we have it here. So let's select on this particular country and then click on the new group option. So here in the group one, we have the option about, let's type it a name. By default, it is selecting here the list here. The reason is because it is actually a text value. And that's the reason it's showing up here in the list value. And we can just drag and drop, or we can select here United States and Canada and click on group option. So it is switching up into this two of them into one. And then we can also include others here. And it's not showing up into others. And if I click on OK, then this is going to create a new column here inside to this one. And if you use this into a visual, then it's kind of additional filtration we can add inside to the visual. So if you want to drill down something, you just want to keep Canada and US to separate and others to separate thing, and then you want user to be drilled down further to investigate furthermore, then you can use this functionality on that. We'll also show you ones for the numbers actually. Somehow my laptop is really slow today. Yeah, you see it has added a new column, sales territory, country group, Canada and US and others here. If I use this option on this particular graph, let's say I'll remove this one for now. And let's take an example of sales territory. So first of all, it has to be this one. Now I should see the value of others and Canada. Both of them separate here. And if I add now country below to this one, so first, if I go drill up here, first of all, I should see only one value. This is still loading on here. But here you can see Canada and US is showing up for these two values, and for others it is showing up for all the four categories here. That's beautiful. So we have these two values now. If I want to drill down further, I just click here and drill down on the others part. So now this is going to drill down and show us the value of Australia, France, and Germany and UK alone, because I just clicked on the others part here. If I drill up here and then click on the Canada and US, now I should see only value for Canada and US. This is an advantage of using a group binning option in Power BI. And if you look at the same information for the customer age, for example, let me see if I have some numbers here. Yeah, so for example, this we have the age bin, which is actually calculated using the customer age here. And if I click on this one, this is actually a formula which I have written in calculated column. And if I zoom in here, we have a date difference of customer birth date and today's date comparison with that, converting this into year. So that's why we are getting the customer age here. So if you want to create a bin here, so we can also click here and click on new group. Then this will detect about the data type of that column, and this will suggest as the option here. All right. So this time it has taken the bin and list. So previously we have seen so far is the list option, and now we have a bin here. So bin means it is have multiple options here. So bin type is size of the bin or the number of bins. So how you want the size of the bin to be. So the customer age here, it is showing up here. The minimum value is 38 and maximum customer age is 108, which we have in our data model. So how you want to split that, the number of the bin here. So binning split numeric or date time into equally sized group, enter the bin size. So how you want the bin size to be. If you specify this to be 10, then this is going to create 10 bins for you. There's one bin, it will be 10 numbers basically, because you selected here to be size of the bin. So in that case, 10 record it will store, 10 value it will store on that particular bin, and then it's going to store that information as a separate column. But whereas if you just convert this into number of bins, then this will automatically split that into that one. So here it's taking up 53 bins, but if you just need 10 bins to show up on the graph, then every bin will contain 7 numbers. That's why it is showing up here and is taking up the value automatically here. So the range which you're fixing up here, it will take automatically. We don't have any control for that. If you need a custom bin, custom range, in that case, you need to create a custom column, like how I did for the switch function, which I just shown before to this one. So this is how we can use the binning option here. So moving on, the next here is clustering technique, which we have seen also before to this one. All right, the next here is how we can use the AI visuals inside to the Power BI. So Power BI provides a wide range of methods to analyze. So fastest way to get answer is to ask questions. So ask questions here refers to the Q&A visuals which we have, and analyze raw data and transform into valuable information. So one of the AI feature is like Q&A, and another is like there are few visuals is available in Power BI. So first we'll look one by one inside to this one and for today's session. All right, so I have this data here, and if I open up my visualization pane, here I have the visual about Q&A. So the visual which is you are seeing up here, the key influencer, the decomposition tree, Q&A, and smart narrative. These 4 are actually AI visuals. So it understands and it will improve based on our data here. So for example, if I click on the Q&A visuals, and then if I ask something here, then to try to get the data based on our request here. Yeah, it is now loaded. So let's ask a question here. What is the sales of Europe? So I'm just asking up here. What is the total sales of Europe? Even though I can able to see the information here on the graph, but still I just want to ask some questions here and then hit enter. So here, what is the total sales of the Europe? It has automatically given the information about 17,600. Yeah, even though the value is here, it's different. Here showing up count of sales. So it has to be sum of sales. What is the sum of total sales? So it is actually giving us some suggestions as well. To if we want to use the Copilot features in Power BI, then we need to sign into this into our Power BI account, and then it has to be published the report into a premium workspace, which is backed by Fabric capacity or Power BI premium capacity. Then only it can work with the Copilot functionality for us. For now, even though I asked some questions here, it is not able to understand what actually means. If I close this one, so it is giving us some suggestions here. So top country region codes by count of country. I don't like that. So what is the country state with the country province code? Top Spanish, what is the country code? It's doesn't meaningful here. So we can also use the Copilot feature that actually backed by large language models. It has a more advanced capabilities so that it can give us correct, clear information here. So you can also try this feature, which is not success here on this demo, but actually it's a good one, the Q&A visuals. And apart from that, we also have other ones. I also like the one which is a smart narrative visuals, which we have. If I click on this one, it understands the context of the page and it actually generates a story for us. So, but before closing this session, I'd like to show you one more visual, which is actually the AI visual. And it helps a lot in one of my organizations which I did the project. The management actually liked a lot because that gives the flexibility to change for the end user itself. If the user itself want to look for some information and they want to manipulate the data, then they can do it by themselves without the help of the other developers. So that actually helps a lot. That is actually the decomposition tree which we have on the Power BI. That is actually default visual from Microsoft itself. And it is also backed by Q&A visual, the AI feature. So I have this blank page here, and from the visualization pane, we have this decomposition tree here. So I just added here, and we can add the information here, analyze and explain by on this one. So I'd like to analyze the total sales here. So total sales I want to analyze and explain by. So what are the reasons I want to explain here? I just want to explain this by sales country or sales country group or sales country region. I can add n number of things here, how I just want to analyze that. And if you also want to use by product category, for example, you can also add calendar year. You can also add product category name here. Everything we have much more information on the sales territory. So let's cancel any one of them. This can be group origin. All right. So I just kept here sales territory, country, year, and product. We can add multiple things here, like 10 categories, but it's not going to be visible on the screen. So we can cut it short by 5 to 6 categories here. So right now you can see we have this total sales, and if I click on the plus sign icon, it is actually giving us the option about high value or low value or the selection which I want here. So this actually, the same UI will be available for the end users also while they are reading up, viewing the information on the Power BI service actually. This is UI itself. So that's what I said, it's flexible for the end users as. So if I click on high value, then it will pick up this information here and give us, load the information here. Yeah. So it is automatically picked up. This is the category and bikes, accessories, and clothing showing up here. And now if I click on this one, so this time I just want to select this by year. And this can expand the bike sales by year here. So 2020 this much, 2018 this much, and 2019 this much. So here also you can click on the plus sign and click on sales territory, and which sales territory we want to look into that. So based on this information, we have a higher sales in bikes and year 2020, and for this territory we have a United States. But if you want to look for the same thing for accessories, you just need to click on the accessories point here. Then everything, whatever we have after that, is going to change accordingly here. So if I click on accessories here, then it's going to expand that value for calendar year, and from here it's going to show that value also here. So now if you want to look for 2021 in that case, this also adding up the tooltip, that's a beautiful thing. But here we have this also the same for United States here. So you're okay with this approach. But now if you want to look the year first and category to be the last one, in that case, you can just click on this cancel icon. So now this will pick the data out from the year, and we have a sales territory group here. And then you can also click on plus sign and we have a product category name. So we can switch around the information however we want to look that information here. That's also beautiful. So we have a 2020 year and we also have 2021. And if I click on anything here, it's going to change the other lines, other lineage automatically based on the selection here. So if we select for 2018 here, this is going to give us information for 2018. And this is the sales information and this is for the bikes here. That's beautiful. And not only that, the lines which is showing up here is actually reference to the overall value from this one. If you want to refer only for this particular thing, then we can also customize it from the filter pane, from the format pane option here. The bars is showing up here. So this is showing up here level to maximum. We have option to level to top node or parent node. If you click on the parent node, then this is going to look for the information. 2018, we have this much of value, and based on that value, what is the range for that? This is going to show up the information here. And if you click on the top node, then this is going to compare with the top node here, and then it's going to filter that accordingly. So level maximum is the highest level. So based on that, it's going to give us the information here. That's pretty amazing about this chart, and this is fully customizable based on that. So this is all about for today's session. So we look about the various custom visuals which we can use, and also we can use the scattered plot chart in order to identify the outliners, and also we can create winnings clustering on that so that we can also differentiate between the multiple categories on this one. So if you have any questions, you can ask me about here.